South Africa, get ready to get paid your 1 million rand payout. Then we're going to say, Bibi, come to South Africa. Now,
South Africa can pay South Africans 1 million every year for the rest.
Tension is exploding across South Africa as anger spills into the streets over the March and March movement operation targeting foreigners, with citizens fiercely divided and emotions reaching a boiling point. Some are calling it a stand for jobs and safety, while others are warning it is pushing the country closer to chaos, division, and international backlash. Videos circulating online show heated confrontations, loud protests, and communities clashing over who truly belongs and who is being unfairly blamed for deep social and economic struggles. The situation is escalating fast, and many fear this could spiral into something far more dangerous if leaders and communities don't step in quickly. If you are joining us for the first time, subscribe so you don't miss any updates, and if you find this video informative, like, subscribe, and share so more people can stay informed.
I'm saying, I'm voting this man. This man is going to be voted president now. This man, he's going to be the president. Let me tell you exactly what I'm talking about. Let me show you.
South Africa can pay South Africans 1 million every year for the rest of their lives. Let's say the average life expectancy in South Africa is 70 years. South Africa can pay 70 million to each person in this country to sustain themselves for the rest of their lives. We don't even need to work. We can have these legal immigrants coming to South Africa to work for us, like in Dubai. In the Arab Emirates, only foreigners are working. The citizens, the owners, the indigenous people of Dubai, they don't work.
But we have one problem now, right? The foreigners that got documents, we kicked them out already. How are we going to have them grab for us now when we make the 1 million? Or not make it, when we get it. Now I must spend so much money. There's not going to be one South African that's working. Who's going to do this work for us while we enjoy our 1 million? Yeah. Guys, please send a message to all of the documented foreigners. Tell them we wasn't picking on them. They can come back, please. Please bring them back because, we've got 1 million. We're playing.
They call him Pagelum Tagati. I have great admiration for Nkosikona Ndabandaba. I think he has no peer when it comes to mobilizing people on the basis of African pride, as we understand it in South Africa. International interest in so-called xenophobia of South Africans has turned the leadership of March and March and allied organizations into household names on the continent and beyond. Unfortunately, to handle international attention competently, it takes much more than the skills which are required to mobilize people to oppose uncontrolled influx of Nigerian criminals. Pagela may not have desired it, but he is the face of South Africa now. His opinions are associated with South Africa. His wisdom is the wisdom of South Africa, and his ignorance is associated with the whole of South Africa. By virtue of this situation, Pagela owes it to all South Africans to confine himself to topics he understands when he speaks in public, so as not to be caught speaking nonsense, because such nonsense will inevitably be used to discredit all South Africans. Pagela knows nothing about the delicate topic of economics, but of late he has taken to making silly public economic statements which make us all look ridiculous. For example, he is reported as saying that South Africa is so rich that we can afford to pay each South African R1 million annually for the rest of his life, which would enable South Africans not to work. Unfortunately, this confirms all the current vicious propaganda by other Africans that South Africans are ignorant, uneducated, and lazy. I must confess that When I saw a clip of Pagela saying these things, I wished the ground would swallow me. To be fair to Pagela, even people who think they are intellectuals, such as Malema, don't understand these things. At times, he does make almost equally stupid economic propositions, but world attention on what he says has never been as intense as current focus on Pagela. By his own admission, Pagela is the leader of his own foundation and is only giving support to March and March. Unfortunately, people tend to associate everything he says with March and March. Pagela cannot be denied freedom of speech. Perhaps the considerate thing for him to do would be to preface all his crazy economics propositions with the disclaimer that this is not the view of March and March. Another topic that Pagela may want to avoid is promising people millions of jobs. It makes him sound like Ramaphosa the liar. This is a particularly unwise topic after Pagela's secret June 29 meeting with the liar.
Be able to fix South Africa. Now he made another interview. Now he has reduced that to 1 million rand for every South African. He's saying that there are 70. The average lifespan of a South African is 70 years old. South Africa has the capacity of granting each of its citizens $1 million a year for the next 70 years. South Africa is wealthy enough. That is what he's saying. He said that he wants South Africa to become like Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, where its citizen does not work. Where foreigners have to work for them. He wants to see South Africa be like the United Arab Emirates, where South Africans can sit at home while foreigners can work for them, because South Africa is such a rich country. Somebody needs to call this guy to order. I think this guy is absolutely deluded, thinking South Africa is a rich country. South Africa is a country that cannot even fund its own healthcare budget. South Africa needed aid from the United States and Europe to fund its healthcare in terms of providing drugs for HIV patients and AIDS patients in their country. And FACO is saying that South Africa is so wealthy that they can pay their own citizens, every citizen in South Africa, $1 million a year. Somebody needs to educate this guy on what economics data are. What is economy as a whole? South Africa is a country with a GDP of $480 billion, with a gross national income of 7.7 trillion rands, which equates to about $390 billion. That tells you that the average income of South Africa as a country, as citizens per individual, earns an average of $6,110 US. So South Africa is not a wealthy country. South Africa is a poor country. This guy is living in self-delusion, thinking South Africa is a very wealthy country. Maybe he sees beautiful buildings on the street in South Africa. That makes South Africa a beautiful country. No, South Africa is not. South Africa is a poor country that is just doing well in a continent that is full of poor nations. That is why this guy has it in his head that South Africa, looking at South Africa comparable to other African countries on the continent, South Africa is a rich nation. No, South Africa is not. South Africa does not have the capacity to give every citizen $1 million. Even the United Kingdom does not have that kind of money. United Kingdom is far, far richer, more than 10 times richer than South Africa, cannot afford to grant its own citizens $1 million a year. This guy is absolutely a joke. When it comes on air to speak, I just laugh. These are the kind of people that comes out from South Africa as a country. It tells you about the educational qualities of South Africa. You see, when I see the ranking of South African universities being ranked globally, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Those rankings are just looking at the buildings. They're not looking at the content in those universities. Because when a lot of South Africans speaks and you begin to question the levels of education. I have interacted with a lot of South African doctors and lawyers and economists. The way they reason, I begin to question the levels of education in South Africa. This guy is so dumb. It's no longer 5 million rand for food. He's now talking about $1 million for every South Africa. Paco, South Africa is not a rich nation. Remove this delusion in your head that South Africa can afford to pay its citizens 1 million rand a year. South Africa is a poor country. A $480 billion economy is not a huge economy for a country of 65 million people. A gross national income of $390 billion. That is what South African national income is. Maybe you don't understand what national income is. Gross national income is the total income earned within South Africa plus net income from abroad. That equates to $390 billion, which equates to South Africa has per income, a gross national income of $6,110. So South Africa is not a rich country. FACO, 5 million rand for food. Now you are becoming a 1 million rand income for South Africa.